The sentence doesn't have to be exact.
No. So here, you ask me.
I'll ask you then. So I didn't have what kind of real schooling.
No, it's not.
It's not recorded. My father. He's happy to the camera.
Mr. Carlos.
And then worked as a clerk at a grocery store. Started the Monday Coffee House. Accepted a partnership offer to be part of the building board.
Mine is like,
I'll ask
Do you know your prototype really should go around?
So I also speak a lot of
Alright, where are group three's questions?
I put them on the desk. And
Three cheese. Gavin, is this yours?
the only major that I did was nominate
Sejal, come here. Hand these questions out to your parents as they come. Lacey or Gavin? There.
Oh yeah, here.
And then,
I gotta ask you.
you can hand this out to your mom and then your parents.
Said I was a that is our son.
No, that was Oh my god, I just got
I was there during a whole convention. I was there 4 years after this. The convention was over, and then I never got to finish it because I was arrested for 97 I wasn't listening to what you said. Were they more respected as an assignment?
You have to get this one right first. I meant unpacking that.
Oh yeah, I'm at 9:30 deck on I took part in the new US government.
Yes, I was respected more.
I took part in the new US government.
I was at the age of that.
When did he pass away?
Dude, this can literally choke you. My grandmother.
The actual question is what oh wait, what was your occupation at baseline?
When your group goes up. Okay?
Just to our parents, right?
Just to your parents. I think whose group are you? I think I gave
Gavin, your
Yeah,
group
but I
two,
can't-
that means you're going for
Is it July 14th from January
Hold on, Gavin.
11th, 17th?
I gave it to Sartaj. Sartaj has the question.
Okay. Jaden is here, I said before. I took part.
All right, guys. We're gonna get started. It's okay. Come on in. All right. Parents that could make it work right now, we're live streaming on YouTube right now through Google Hangouts. So the parents that could not make it still could see us present their panel discussion. The guys each selected a framer of the Constitution and have researched that framer for the past couple of weeks. The guys that went into the Constitution Center with me down in Philadelphia last week got to see their framers, got to walk up to them, take a picture with them, take a selfie with them, and then they got to just get a good sense of how tall the statues that they saw were actual height of the framers, so how tall they actually were. Each group came up with their own questions to ask themselves before, during, and after the signing of the Constitution, so they came up with those questions. Each answer will be different for each of their framers. So what we're going to do first is just have a reader's theater on the signing of the Constitution. So each student was given a cast member in that signing. So we'll do that first, and then we'll break off into our groups. Okay? So let's come up. Those of you guys bring up your reader's theater. Those of you who are going first, and then push your chair.
Where's Carson over here?
All right.
Yeah,
One.
over here with us.
Make sure you're standing large states, small states.
And Fidel. And Amber.
All right, guys. So this is the signing of the Constitution in 1787. These are right now. We're going to. These are the large states and the small states, kind of at war over each other. We have the Articles of Confederation. Articles of Confederation, raise your hand. Yep. Articles of Confederation. Now we've realized that he is too weak to continue on with the United States of America. So without further ado, the signing of the Constitution.
In the summer of 1787, 55 men called framers
I'm a framer.
So am I.
went to Philadelphia to begin working on a new constitution. For 6 years, America had a weak central government created by the Articles of Confederation.
What's wrong with me? I was okay when I was written. You are too weak. We need a stronger central government.
It's okay. You did the job when we needed, but now we need something else.
I do feel rather weak.
The men met all summer long. The weather was hot and so were the arguments.
We need to protect the states' rights.
Under the Articles of Confederation, each state was like its own little country. Each made its own laws, each had its own constitution.
We need to protect states' rights, but we also need to be a more perfect union.
America needed to be more united. It needed one currency. It needed to be able to protect the people of the United States.
This constitution must establish justice and ensure domestic tranquility.
It also must provide a common defense and promote the general welfare.
The framers got to work. They wanted to make sure they had a strong leader who would not be a king.
No king, no king.
We need a strong leader. President is what we will need. A president will lead our country. He will sign laws or veto them. The president will work on foreign policy. He will be in charge of the armed forces.
This will be the executive branch.
The first part of the government was decided, but an argument arose during the meetings over representation of the people.
We want to be represented equally.
But we have more people than you. How will we work this out? I have an idea.
A great compromise was put in place. This formed the legislative branch of our government. It is called Congress.
Our legislature will have two houses. One will be the House of Representatives.
The House of Representatives is based on population. That makes us happy.
The other will be the Senate.
2 senators from each state. We like that.
Now the framers need to put together the judicial branch, the branch of the government, to make sure that the laws are lined up with what the Constitution says.
The highest in the land will be called the Supreme Court.
That's a great idea. We need to keep checks and balances on all the branches of government. Things are shaping up. The new government was set. The Constitution replaced the Articles of Confederation. One article set up to cooperate among the states. They would have to get along. The states had to obey the central government.
We're glad we'll be working together now.
It will be much better this way.
new constitution also had a way it could be changed. It wouldn't be easy to change, but the framers knew everything necessary someday. They didn't want to have to start over again. This made the document a living document. Once approved, it would be the highest law in the land. All of the other laws would have to agree with the Constitution.
It's time to send this on to the states.
We like it. We approve.
Let's say they need to approve the Constitution, but they're in a small county.
There's nothing in here about people's rights. I think they will send a letter to the Congress.
It's a good thing we added in the part about changing the Constitution. The Congress agreed that the rights of the people needed to be added. They promised the states that they would form a Bill of Rights of the people. Soon the Constitution was approved and the Bill of Rights was added. A strong government was in place.
For the United States of America.
All right. So now what we'll have is group 3, you guys stay, and then the rest of you guys can go back to your seats. Group 3 parents, you guys will be the one asking the questions. So if you want to come up, we have James McHenry, we have Robert Morris, played by Chase, we have George Clymer, played by Sophia, Ben Franklin, played by Caitlin Diaz, and then Nicholas Gilman, played by Nicholas Diaz, and McHenry is played by Drew. So, parents, if you guys want to come up closer to the front, and then you guys will ask the questions. There are 6 questions, 6 total questions, 2 before, 2 during, and then 2 after. All right, so they came up with the questions. Questions are the same for each student. Obviously, they're different because they're different signers. All right, so first question for before.
When and where were you born?
So Nicholas Gilman.
I was born on August 3rd, 1755, and I lived in New Hampshire.
I was born on January 17th, 1706, in the little house on Milk Street in Boston, Massachusetts. The house I was born in stood for 120 years before it was destroyed in a fire in 1811.
I was born in Philadelphia, PA, March 16, 1739. I was born on January 20th, 1734 in Liverpool, England. My parents were Elizabeth Murfitt and Robert Moore Sr.
I was born on November 16th in the United Kingdom.
What education did they have? And what occupations did they have before becoming a singer? Signer. What did they sing?
In New Hampshire, my job was in a family store. I was a soldier of security.
What education did you have?
I was a businessman at my family's store. I had a lot of other jobs. I was a public security
Okay.
soldier.
What about you, Ben?
I was educated at the Boston Latin School until the age of 10 when I dropped out to help my father in a soap making business. As for my occupations, I was a statesman, author, inventor, scientist, diplomat, and general postman.
I went to the University of Pennsylvania. I later became a banker, educator, patriot, and merchant. I didn't have any general schooling. I was tutored for 1 year by William Gordon. At age 14, after immigrating to Maryland like my father, I met up with my father's old friend, Mr. Greenway. I then worked as a clerk at a merchant's firm. I started the London Coffee House, worked as a ship captain on a mission in the Bahamas, and I accepted a partnership offer to be in the Willing, Morris & Co. company.
I had a classical education at Dublin Newark in Delaware. Occupations I held before becoming a framer were an office holder, mercantile, and physician.
Very good. How important were you during the convention?
I did not arrive at Philadelphia until July 21st. Until that time, there were major business I gave no speeches, but I played a part in the convention and I served as a ambassador.
I was very important during the convention. In fact, I came up with the general idea of government that we are known to today. I attended most, if not all, of the meetings.
I worked with the Continental Congress. I also was one of the first U.S. House of Representatives.
I didn't really talk that much. I was more of a listener observer. However, I did attend. Did was nominate my good friend George Washington as President of the United States because that was a pretty big thing back then.
My presence was not widely known during the convention of the Constitution. After the convention, I returned to Maryland as my political occupation as Maryland Senator.
Did they sign anything besides the Constitution?
No, I did not sign anything besides.
I signed multiple documents. I signed the Declaration of Independence, the Treaty of Alliance with France, the Treaty of Paris, in addition to the United States Constitution. I was also the only founding father to sign these.
And Declaration of Independence along with the Constitution.
I was one of only two triple signers along with Dr. Sherman. That means that I signed Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Articles of Confederation.
I only signed one article, and that was the Constitution of the United States of America.
Where did they live after signing the Constitution?
After I signed the Constitution, I returned to Exeter, New Hampshire, and I returned to my own personal career.
I continued to live in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania after the signing of the United States Constitution. I was actually elected president of the Pennsylvania Society for Promoting the Abolition of Slavery.
I lived in Bucks County, Morrisville, PA. This house was previously owned by Robert Morrisville, later given up to me due to his death.
I bought a house on Chestnut Street in Philadelphia. I lived there during the signing of the Constitution, and then a few years after, I then sold it, started to build a mansion at the house next door, but I was arrested in 1798 for debt, and then I wasn't released until 1801, so I never had time to finish it.
I returned back to my estate in Baltimore, going towards semi-retirement as Maryland Senator.
Were you more respected after the signing of the Constitution?
After the signing of the Constitution, a man named William Purchase stated that I was a model, that I was the novelist and honest and respected man.
Indeed, I was more respected after signing the United States Constitution. In fact, when I passed away in 1790 due to natural causes, my funeral was held as a national event, and some 20,000 people attended.
After I signed the Constitution, a statue of me was placed in Signers Garden, Philadelphia, PA in 1982. I inspired Gilbert Stuart to create this statue.
Yes, I was respected more. I ended up getting a lot of important job offers involving Pennsylvania. Ended up accepting a lot of them.
Since my presence was not widely known, I was not as respected from the citizens of America.
Thanks for watching the presentation.
Very good, guys. All right, make sure you grab your name, please. All right, next group. Carson, Rory, Carson, Amber, Dale, and Sage. You guys are up. Bring your.
Gonna watch Francesca. One's Francesca.
All right.
Come on, Carson.
So we go. You can just go straight. So I have this one. First one. want to look into the camera like you're asking for questions, okay? Alright? Okay.
We ready? All right. Before the Constitution, did you have any slaves? If so, how many?
No, because I was a Quaker.
No, I didn't. Yes, I did, like most rich Virginians.
No, I didn't. I was an abolitionist, which means I didn't believe in slavery and I wanted to abolish it.
I didn't have slaves, but I did have indentured servants that could buy their freedom.
What was your job before the Constitution?
I was in the military in the Continental Army.
I was one of the well-trained jurists of my day, known for easily and quickly cutting straight to the heart of a legal question.
I was a governor of New Jersey, which is the state I represented, and was a U.S. Senate.
War.
How were your ideas for the Constitution developed?
I didn't play an important role during the signing of the Constitution, so I didn't develop any ideas either.
We discussed until we came upon a conclusion and then convened the constitutional ideas.
I went over other framers' houses to come up with more ideas and study them until we came up to a compromise.
I made a New Jersey law that helps for smaller countries to have more representation.
Did you sign any other articles?
No, I did not sign any other articles.
No, I did not.
No, I did not understand the Constitution.
I did not sign the other articles besides the Constitution.
All right. What was your job before the Constitution?
Before the Constitution, political career in the Pennsylvania Provincial Assembly.
I was a Supreme Court justice and a governor of New Jersey.
Yeah, but I thought we just did before.
This was the second question before. There was two.
I think we did that. Yeah, we did.
Oh, we did?
We did number 2.
We
Oh,
need to
okay.
go into jury.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Derek,
So where are we now?
1A.
Okay.
wait,
Oh, no, she's saying we're 1A.
No, wait, we're 1D
so our ideas.
or 2D.
No, I'm sorry. 1A.
Okay.
Because
You're right,
we just did
okay.
signing of it.
Okay. How was your life different after the signing of the Constitution?
My creditors forced me to move to Philadelphia in 1799.
Life was easier and because we knew all the laws better.
My life was different because I had to represent and I had more responsibilities as well, and I had to undergo more activities for more people.
I got more respect, and I took place in the new U.S. government.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, what was your occupation after the signing of the Constitution?
I continued my political career in the Pennsylvania.
I was appointed a Supreme Court Chief Justice by George Washington.
I was appointed by George Lansing first time.
Like I said before, I took part in the new government, and I built a facility that I ran that was actually for kids that could not, that didn't have enough money to go to school in elementary school.
There you go. All right, Gavin, Harsha, Misha, Wells, Lynch, and Hugh. Okay, guys.
When and where were you born?
There's no exact date known when I was born. All that is known is that I was born in 1723 in County, Maryland.
I was born January 11, 1755 in Charleston, St. Kitts, and Nevis.
I was born on June 8, 1748 in Baltimore County, Maryland. I was born to Henrietta Percy and Sir Richard Butler in County Carlo, Ireland. I was born on July 11, 1744.
I was born on November 3rd, 1732 in Table Cotton Country, Maryland.
I was born March 24th, 1755 in Scarborough, Maine.
What jobs did you have prior to the Constitutional Convention?
I was a leader in Maryland's government, colonial government for many years. I acted as a receiver general and I served as a justice of peace.
I was the first U.S. Secretary of Treasury,
I had many jobs. I was an Indian commissioner, I was a surveyor general, a state executive, and I was part of the provincial congress. Prior to the Constitutional Convention, I was a politician in South Carolina and a military soldier in the Revolutionary War.
Lawyer and a statesman.
I was an American lawyer, politician, and a diplomat.
Did you prefer or approve of slavery?
Yes, I did approve of slavery. In fact, I owned slaves. However, I requested that 6 years after my death,
I was an abolitionist of slavery and owned no slaves.
I was a descendant of a Quaker, so I did not believe in slavery. I'm sorry to admit that I did own slaves. In fact, I owned over 500 of them, and this is indeed odd, as the Constitution states every man is born equal.
I owned many slaves, but I did not believe in slavery. But when I died, I released all of them.
I didn't like slaves, and I didn't like slavery, and I didn't own any slaves.
During the writing of the Constitution, who else represented your state?
James McHenry and Daniel Carl both represented the great state of Maryland along with me.
I, in fact, was the only representative of the great state of New York.
Abraham Baldwin represented the great state of Georgia along with me. Charles Pinckney, Charles Cotesworth Pinckney, and John Rutledge were also representatives of South Carolina.
George Reed, John Jacob Broome, and Gunning Buford Jr. represented the state along with me.
Nathaniel Gorman and I represented the great state of Massachusetts.
How was life different after the Constitutional Convention?
After the Constitutional Convention, I retired, and I was more widely known for my contributions after this.
I was more respected and was given a job for operating the Continental Army.
After the Constitutional Convention, I got many more jobs. I was selected to serve as one of the original United States senators. I was the U.S. Commissioner of Loans. I was an inspector of prisons, and I was a federal judge. After the Constitution, I was more well known. I was well known in good and bad ways. The good way being that I had signed the Constitution, and the bad way being that I owned slaves.
After the Constitution, I became more famous. I donated some of my wealth to a charity, and I freed all my slaves.
I became a New York senator, and I was more widely known throughout my state.
When and how did you pass away?
Unfortunately, on November 16th, 1790, I passed away of natural causes. At this time, I was only 67 years old, and I may be buried, but they don't know for sure, at Ellerslie, the plantation where I was born.
I met an untimely death on July I was murdered by Aaron Beer, and I was at the age of 49.
Sadly, I passed away on July 16, 1828 due to natural causes. I was 80 years old at that time. I was buried at Reformed Church in Beacon, New York. I passed away on February 15, 1822 of natural causes in Philadelphia. I was buried in Christ Episcopal Church in Churchyard and also in Cambridge.
I died on February 14, 1730, 1808.
1827 due to natural causes. I was 72 years old.
Very good. All the ones that died of natural causes, we couldn't find out exactly how they died, so we just said natural causes. Nice job, guys. All right, next up we have Brianne and Gabby, Sartaj, and Coffee.
Sorry.
All right, so we have George Washington from the great state of Virginia. We have James Wilson from the great state of Pennsylvania. We have George Reed from Delaware, and then we have Jared Ingersoll from the state of Pennsylvania. So the first question is before, when, and where were you born? When and where were you born, Jared Ingersoll?
I was born in New Haven, Connecticut in 1749. I was born September 18th, 1733, Chelsea Country, Maryland. I was born in Great Britain on September 14th. I was born on February 22nd, 1732, at my father's plantation in Pope's Creek, Virginia.
Okay. What was your signer occupation before the signing of the Constitution?
I was a lawyer in the banking industry. Education. I was a lawyer, public security, and planter and slaveholder. I was a lawyer and Latin tutor at the College of St. Andrews University. I was a planter, slaveholder, and general of the Army.
What was your signer's stand on slavery?
I too was an abolitionist and worked to abolish it. I was anti-slavery and did not support slavery. I called to end slavery and slave trading. I was a slave for 56 years, but at the end of my life, I took a bold step and freed all my slaves. I did not sign any other documents other than the Constitution. I signed a Declaration of Independence, the Constitution of Congress, and the Constitution. I only signed one part of the Constitution of the United States of America. I did not sign any other documents after the Constitution.
And then what was your signer's occupation after the signing of the Constitution? What was your signer's occupation after the signing of the Constitution?
After the signing, I returned to practicing law. I was a Chief Justice of Delaware until I passed away. I did federal court business. I was a planter, lieutenant, and general of all the U.S. armies.
When, where, and how did your signer die?
I died in 1822 on October 31st of natural causes at the age. I died September 21st, 3 days after my birthday on 1798, age 65, due of natural causes. I passed away on August 28th in North Carolina at the age of 84. 14th, 1799, from acute laryngitis in Virginia.
All right, we're just a few students short this time. We're 4 students short. They worked really hard. I'm really impressed with a lot of these guys that went above and beyond with the costumes, the wigs. You look more like, you don't look like Roger Wilson, but Liberace. But anyway, I love the hair. These guys worked really hard the past couple weeks. They really worked hard with the questions and the answers. I just thank you guys for coming out to support them. Just if you take the next couple of minutes, you guys can and talk to your students. That's it for the signing of the Constitution. Thank you again for coming. If we're a little late, we're supposed to go till 3, but thank you again for coming, guys. Thank you.